All right, joining me now on Inside the Tournament, TST defending champion from the U.S. women, Heather O'Reilly. Welcome to the show. Look at that.
I haven't taken it off since June.
I
Just,
love it.
just kidding, just kidding. But it's now that the calendar changed to 2025, it's TST season, baby. So we already got the group text popping off. Some fun ads that we'll talk about later on. But yeah, what a joy to be able to take part in this tournament again.
It's so funny because year one, it was like, yeah, this is kind of a cool little thing. We're going to play against some of the men. And then year two, it was like, no, now we're going to win this thing. And now it's like, would almost be an upset if you guys didn't win it this year. But before we get into that, last year, I mean, how incredible was last year?
Oh, so epic. I mean, I was talking about that we have a group text for, our team and staff and things like that. And we're still talking about the event. I mean, not every day, but we're still reminiscing on how special of a week it was. I think year one was particularly special in that like we stuck our necks out. We were the only all women's team in a tournament of essentially all men's teams. There was a few women playing, certainly, but so the first year was us making a statement, us being proud of. I don't want to say this badge, but this badge sort of represents alumni, I suppose, of the U.S. women's national team, and that sisterhood and being bold and brave, and that's what the U.S. national team has always been about, and that's what U.S. women made a statement about in that first year. And then, of course, that first year obviously snowballed into helping develop year two, in which we were one of 8 all women's teams in the tournament. So super proud of that. Super proud that we contributed to that happening. But I didn't want to just be like the catalyst that led to the women's division. I wanted to be the catalyst and also be the winner. So the U.S. national team has a very high standard of winning as well. So we had to assemble a squad that could get that done, right? And I think that's what was so special about the team last year was the putting together the squad, the concoction of the old and the new. We learned that like fresh young legs is critical in this game. It's different than an 11-side game, in that like the substitutions are critical, the explosion, the speed is critical. And we got that right. We lost the first game 3-0, big time wake up call. And then, having Michelle Akers, Mia Hamm, Carl Overbeck, Kendall Fletcher White, an outstanding coaching staff behind us to say like, okay, that was a punch in the face. But how do we fail fast, as they say, and put together a good rest of the tournament, something that we can be proud of? And we just got better and better and better every single game. So now it's year three, and it's a year that we hope to repeat.
Yeah, I mean, the squad was awesome last year. You nailed it. The younger legs definitely showed up, but then, you all held it down in the semifinals, in the championship. It was great to see this year as we expand from 8 to 16, more competition, more matches you would need to win. And anytime you expand a field, there's going to be more potential high level players. So, first, thoughts on TST from like a TST and women's soccer standpoint, expanding from 8 to 16.
Well, I think it's outstanding. I think it's similar, I think, to like what we see going on around the world in terms of women's football, right? Like the US national team uh set a standard early, right? In like the 90s. And winning breeds winning, right? So that's how US soccer sort of got a leg up on competition in the last couple of decades. But eventually the rest of the world caught up, which is a great thing in the development of the women's game. You have wonderful leagues in England and France and Germany and Sweden and Japan and all over the place, right? But the U.S. national team and like the NWSL constantly has to think of how do we keep moving this measuring stick? How do we keep moving this standard and find new margins to continue to separate these people that, quite frankly, are chomping at our heels, right? Nipping at our heels and are right there. So I feel sort of similar now in this edition of TST because the pool is bigger, which is great. Does it make our job harder? Yeah, sure it does, right? Like we have a whole nother round of games and it's going to be difficult, but that's something that, like, I think historically we have always said, like, bring it. This is a good thing. And we're happy to kind of lead that charge. So yeah, the growth to 16 teams shows the interest from other people. It shows new resources coming in. It demonstrates to me that TST is going about things in the right way, that in measured and not, getting too big too soon, but it's being strategic and thoughtful in the way that they are growing as an entity and as a tournament. Um, and that's been exciting to see. And I've been proud to sort of be part of some of those conversations. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, but bring it. We're already assembling our team and we're looking forward to it.
I love it. So forget all that nonsense about TST advancing the sport and all that. U.S. women, do you expect to win it again?
Sure. Yes, we do. We do expect to win it. We think that we will have the quality on the pitch and off the pitch. We're very proud of that product. I think we learned a lot last year in terms of what's needed and some of the tactics that are needed, some of the substitution patterns that are needed. And looking at some player profiles, what are needed. But we have a great squad coming back. And yeah, I think that we have a very good chance. I would say that it's probably our tournament to lose. But there was a lot of very good other teams out there as well. But can't wait. It's so much fun.
It really is a lot of fun. And off the pitch is where, it seems to be the most fun, specifically to you, year one with the Como fans, vibing with the crowd. So how about last year? How great was it just to be back at TST, see all the new faces, all the fans, like the environment? If you're talking to the fans, why do they need to come to TST next year?
Yeah, I mean, so much of what you said there, Andrew, was interesting because, first of all, let me talk about Como 1907 for a second. Como was in our group the first year, got to know them. They beat us pretty solidly. But Cesc Fabregas is on the other side, Patrick Catrone, all their stars, and became friendly with them. And actually, now that's who I work for. I work for Como 1907, building up their women's side of their club. And that, I think, kind of just speaks to, I always hate the word networking, but that's kind of what happened. Like, TST brings people together, brings brands together, brings entities together, brings like-minded people together. So I would say, from like a business and a career perspective, like, that's a reason to come and to be part of it in itself, right? In terms of the fans, I mean, there's been so many people that say, like, this is more exciting than normal football, right? Because obviously, it's smaller field, a lot of goals being scored. The scoring, target scoring is very, very exciting. That's probably the most exciting, nuanced part of the game that differentiates it from anything else that we've been part of. Always ending on a goal, always ending on golden goal. I'm devastated that, like, FIFA lost golden goal. I always thought that was the best. I mean, obviously it hurts bad when you're on the losing side of it because usually that means the opposing team is running on the field and you're, really bummed out. But I just think there's no better way to end a soccer game. So, yeah, the actual product, I think, is very, very exciting. And as a player, there's been a lot of people that have said, like, this is one of the best weeks of the year, if not like my life. I mean, people have said that this is like the best time of their life. And I
Have you
agree.
said that? Yeah, have
I
you said
agree.
that?
Listen, don't get me wrong. Winning the actual World Cup was pretty awesome, and Olympic gold medals, and things like that. But TST is pretty cool. And especially because I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So for me, I'm like on home turf, right? And so I get to play hostess with the mostest and, have some of my friends stay at my house and have barbecues and meet other teams. And actually, I had a pretty epic post tournament party at my house. We had a big pool party
Still waiting on my invite to
with
that.
the
Still
Wrexham
waiting on my
guys and
invite.
gals. Yeah, it was a good time. I hope everybody made their flights the next day. I would doubt that they did. But yeah, we had a pretty good rager there to cap off the week.
That's great. Yeah, it's you had fun. I don't know if anyone had more fun than the Wrexham women's team. They in the cabanas during the championships, they were having a great time. So it's definitely a great time. Players, fans, coaches, etc. But as we look to this year and we talk about year two of U.S. women potentially, really being able to win this thing and the better competition. Last year, I asked you, who do you want to see at TST? You said LeBron James. So now that we've seen CP3, McAfee, JJ Watt, we're let's talk realistic here. Who do you want to see? Who should come watch U.S. women compete for another championship?
Mm. Uh, let's get the Kelsey brothers. Let's get T
Yeah,
Swift. Let's get, I'll still say LeBron. I'm sure he's a busy man, but him and Bronny should come play. I think that would be fun. From a, f- I would love if Beckham would come with his boys or his daughter, actually, for that matter. I think that they would say it was a lot of fun. And now they're a bit closer commute just coming up from Miami. So let's go, Bex. Join the party.
yeah. Get Messi on the flight. Come to TST. Bring the whole Miami squad. It would be a good time.
I think so. I think they just have to talk to anybody that's been there before, and they'll say it's well worth it.
All right, 2025 team. As you start building the team, is it easier to recruit now because everyone wants to come win their share of a million, or is it harder because you have to actually say no to people?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I don't think that we're going to have trouble filling out our roster. I assume the roster is still 20 players unless they've changed that. But people do want to play. I mean, last year we handed out checks for $40,000 to each one of the 20 players that were on the team. And that's a chunk of change for people to play soccer in a weekend, right? The $40,000 that's meaningful to a lot of people. And so nobody wants to really turn that down. We have a couple replacements, certainly happening for different reasons. And we have a couple very, very big name players joining us. So I think that the fans will be excited to see who we're rolling out.
I'm excited to see, and we won't reveal anything yet, but we will reveal shortly in the coming days, hopefully, or potentially even minutes, hours, who's joining your squad. Last year's team was awesome. How about Tessa Delarose and Bella Sember? Those youngins who, oh, what are you doing in your off season? Winning a TST championship. What are you doing once you're back in season? Winning a national championship. Just real quick, those two, what they meant to the team and what you think their future holds in the world of soccer.
Yeah, I was so proud of them. I think, that in our first training session, they came and I think, to see Carly Lloyd there, Mia Hamm there, it's very intimidating, right? So I think they stayed a little bit quiet and they certainly, did the job on the field, but they didn't want to step out of themselves in any way, right? And as the tournament went on, their quality continued to come out and their confidence continued to come out, right? And we, as sort of older players, continued to take them under our wing with our experience and tried to empower these younger players to sort of take over, right? Bella has one of the best strikes of the ball, particularly from like the top of the box. She's very, very good in tight areas and finding her shot. So I knew that she would be really, really useful in the format of TST. And Tessa, I think, is a fabulous defender and can get up and down the pitch as well as very, very fit. And yeah, can run, can put in a tackle, can score goals as we saw. So all around, really, really excellent player. So we'll see. Again, I don't want to make any announcements out of turn. I want these players to be able to announce if they're going to be coming or not on their own, and every all the listeners will just have to see. But trust me, we will have a stacked team again. A couple big names coming to join the squad. And yeah, we got to make sure that we get this balance right of our team to be able to go back to back.
All right, two final questions. First one, do you have a message to the clubs and teams out there who think they can dethrone the U.S. women?
Bring it. Bring it. Let's go. I think one of the characteristics of the US national team for years is just steel sharpens steel, right? So let's bring the absolute best out of each other. Do I hope to be on the winning side of it in the end? I certainly do. But I also hope that we put on a really good show for the fans, for the tournament, and just looking forward to it.
And then the second question, and this is a little more of a fun question. Be honest with your answer. Did you blow all of your winnings on hosting the Wrexham teams at your party, or were you able to get yourself something nice with the winnings?
uh yeah, you know what? Some tequila, some pizza, some Doritos, all that can't add up to 40K, Andrew. But yes, did spend a little bit at the party there at the end, but actually Dave and I, my husband, we got to go to Paris for the Olympics in the summer.
Wow.
And I remember when we were there, I was, a little splurging on some of the meals and some of the things that we did there. And I said, this was TST money. It's not even real money. This is TST money. So yeah, that's what all my every time I skip ice cream or eat a salad or do an extra sprint on the treadmill, I'm thinking TST 2025, win the money, get the bag again, because yeah, who wouldn't love just frolicking around Paris again this summer?
Okay, well, I lied. You had such a good answer that it's going to make me ask one more question. When you were in Paris and you were meeting with other soccer people, were they saying to you, "Congrats on winning a TST championship"? Is it being talked about wherever you go?
Yeah, I think cat's out of the bag now. I think slowly but surely people are tuning in. I remember Becky Sauerbrunn, who was playing professionally with Portland this last year when I was covering one of the games for the NWSL. She was telling me all about TST and how she was tuning in and watching it. So I think that people are. I think at first, people didn't really know what to think of it. They didn't know if it was like a joke, if it's just a bunch of old people, trying to hack it again. That might be actually kind of true, but it's also very, very exciting. Quality entertainment. And I think it's a respected entity in the football world. And even some of my European friends are hearing about it. So word's getting out. It's exciting, and it's only getting better and better.
Well, Heather, thank you for jumping on the show. We're excited about another year of U.S. women. You've grabbed this opportunity by the horns and went with it. This is like Heather O'Reilly's team, the U.S. women. Heather O'Reilly. It should be
Nobody's
Heather
bigger than
O'Reilly.
the team, Andrew. Nobody's
There
bigger
you
than the
go.
team.
I'm giving you all these
I've
softballs.
always been a team player. Anybody that's known me, but yeah, I think to your point, being part of the U.S. Women's National Team is a huge part of my life, a huge part of my formative years, and like it means a lot to me, right? And so now in retirement, this is kind of my baby, and it's been super fun because more than anything, it serves as a reunion of sorts to get the gang back together. So and doing what we do best, which is competing, trying to win, and enjoying our time together.
I love it. Well, Heather, thanks again, and I'm sure we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Andrew.